Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Picardian.
John Esterly with Rare Buzz Effects.
Well, it must be a special day.
Sean Mikowski, Talon Electric.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
We have what is
Pedal
commonly
Central.
known in gin as a full house.
Yes.
That's right.
Probably not that.
Yeah.
Did they call it full? Is there a full house in gin?
Yeah, I think there's a full
Is there
house.
really?
Yeah.
I did a bad joke then.
I think it was a show.
I don't know.
Joker's Wild.
I tried to pick something that... Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs Podcast. We're thrilled to death that you're listening to our show. Woo! Yes, this is going to be super duper fun. We've got some subject matter that is, I think, new somewhat. We've had a couple of DIY thingies in the past. Copper Sound has graced us with a few things, and a few other people have. Yeah. But today we're talking with a special guest calling all the way from under a bridge in New York.
This is Seth from Huntington Audio, Huntington, New York.
He's literally standing there with like one of those like antennas that you try to get a signal with your hand.
Oh, yeah.
That's
ham radio.
Ham radio, yeah, that's it.
I love ham radio.
That's me.
Yeah, and what is your company called?
It's Huntington Audio Labs.
Huntington Audio Labs. And where can people find said thing?
Well, I tried to make it easy. You can find it at huntingtonaudio.com or Huntington Audio on Instagram.
Okay, excellent.
Now, I don't know if you realize this, but if you take the letters of Huntington Audio Labs, it is HAL, which is a character.
2001.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most famous
Wasn't
movies
lost
in the
on
world,
me.
Tony. You're saying like you're dropping some kind of gold on us.
It is gold. It's gold.
It's a good one.
I'm
That's
sorry,
for sure.
Todd. I can't do that.
So let's see here. We got all kinds of fun stuff to discuss, you guys. So
Let's just do it.
that's what
Do you
we
have
are
any
going to do. I do
announcements?
have an announcement. Stefan Lamb, if you're listening, I need to let you know that you just won one of the Van Halen books.
Whoa.
Hey, signed from Chris Gill. In fact, the last one. There's no mas,
No
like
mas.
Roberto Duran. Okay,
Oh.
Got it.
So,
bad, got it. Bad.
that's going to be coming out to you, and we want to say a huge thank you to Chris Gill for supplying those.
Thank you, Chris.
And for signing them and just being an all-around good guy. We've got lots of other good things. I've got a little mound of cool things that I can't wait to get into people's hands, including some pedals. I'm just saying.
All right.
So, without further ado, because we do have a lot to talk about, we got a lot of mouths here that are going to be talking. Why don't we find out what's going on in our music world this week?
Yes.
And wait a minute.
No.
The freaking Tony Baloney pedal.
Oh.
There's still a couple left.
There's are there?
There's still.
I
yes,
thought that was completely sold out.
No, I think there's just a few left.
Just a handful left. So,
Yes.
if you want one of these beautiful drive pedals named after moi,
Yes.
the
And if
Tony
you don't know what it
Baloney-
looks like, go to our Instagram. You'll see all about it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful pink pedal. Yeah, that looks like an Oscar Mayer package.
Hilarious.
It's great
I love
stuff.
it.
Is there a theme there?
Yes, there is.
There is, and I am a fan of the bologna sandwich.
Oh, bologna.
Specifically,
gotcha.
the fried bologna
Oh,
sandwich.
the one up north?
Yeah, well, Waldo, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one. But there's a couple locals that are good, too.
Yeah.
But head over to Instagram, at Tony Baloney Pedal.
Yep. And
And
just
you-
drop a DM in there.
Just drop a DM
I
in
want
there.
a pedal.
I want this pedal. I want it now. It's $175. Everything goes to our friends at Hungry for Music,
Yes.
which helps.
It's a charity.
It's a charity.
Yes.
And it puts instruments in the hands of kids.
That's correct.
And so special tip of the chapeau to Sam Jett,
Yeah.
who builds these.
True gentleman.
And we had him on a
Despite what
couple
he
of
looks like.
episodes. No, he's a nice guy. he's a handsome
I know,
individual.
he's a handsome
and
guy.
he's an anesthesiologist.
Yes.
Wow.
So, that's some pretty cool
He'll
stuff.
put you to sleep, Todd.
I know. I got to watch it around him.
But yeah, so go over and do it. Get one while you can.
Yeah, because we're not doing a second run of these things.
No, this is it.
I don't think.
This
Is there going to be a second run?
I don't think, though.
Well, at this point, not.
If there's enough demand after we sell out, then maybe.
Yes, maybe we'll do them in moldy.
So there may
moldy green.
be a second run.
Well,
But there probably won't be.
There
Let's just
probably
leave it
won't.
at that.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to what's going on in our music world this week. We're going to start off with the semi-talented Tanya Bolonsky, and then we'll check in with our pal Seth from Huntington Audio.
only semi-talented.
Yeah.
It's better than not talented.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
Go.
since you put it that. Okay, Todd. Jeez, boy, he's just a barking orders tonight. So this week, now I don't know how many of you out there subscribe to the Musician's Friend stupid deal of the day. I do. And about 8:11 every morning, I get a little beep on my phone, and it says, "A new stupid deal of the day is ready for you to view." And 95% of the time, it's something I don't want or whatever. But I have, over the years, gotten some really great deals on stuff that I wanted. This week was no exception. I got my alert, and it was for a Guild M75 Aristocrat. Now, I'm going to take it out of the case right now.
Excellent.
Oh, it's a
I'm
gig,
really excited to see this.
it's a gig bag. And
Tony's opening the gig bag. Ooh.
it is a beautiful instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, I've owned other Aristocrats and M75s over the years.
That's a gentleman's guitar.
It is.
It
I don't
is-
want to say what it looks like because I don't want to get sued, but it has a very familiar shape.
It's
to
kind
it.
of like a LP, but not the record.
No.
Ooh.
It's a little bit. It's like a heritage guitar.
Somehow
Is that what
it,
you guys are thinking?
It just made it through
It
customs.
looks.
That's
It looks kind of like a heritage guitar.
Oh yeah, that's another
It's got
story
just
altogether.
enough differences.
Well, but they've been making Aristocrats since the 1950s.
Yes.
Yeah, helps yourself. And what's cool about this one, it is a chambered mahogany back with a spruce top.
Man.
And
Set neck and everything.
that-
yeah, it's
is
set
a-
neck. And now
How
get
much
this.
was that?
It was $3.99.
Wow.
Now normally these sell for about $8.50 or so, I think is what the street is on them. So this was less than half price. It's a wonderful instrument.
Wow.
It's light.
That's pretty impressive.
It's got
Easy killer.
Franz pickups is what what Guild made. They were basically,
My favorite thing is the knobs.
you like the knobs.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Bias.
But yeah, they're basically like P90s. This thing came in. I mean, it was almost.
It's actually shockingly light.
It
doesn't-
is, because
it looks like a heavy guitar
Well, it looks like a Les Paul might
or a heritage.
or a Heritage.
It's the chambers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, I am real happy. This is a Chinese-made one. Now, over the years, I've owned. Yes.
No.
Yes. Guild has a lot of things made in China, which will be interesting in the next year or two
Yeah.
or so.
I guess.
And at Infinitum.
Or maybe like 3 weeks. I don't know.
But I've had a Korean made one. I've owned several U.S. made models, and these are just wonderful instruments.
Could you
And
tell a difference?
Could I? Yes.
Oh, well put.
But to the average bear,
Yes.
maybe not. I mean, but I have to say this one plays great. The pickups are reissue kind of P90s, and they sound
It's
really
almost
good.
like a pearl-esque cover on those P90s, isn't it? It's like a milky white.
I think it's beige.
Yeah,
It's beige? No, it's not beige.
vintage white. We'll call it vintage.
It has a
white.
little depth.
It's
to
whiter than the binding.
And it's got
And it's
squared
less
off
yellow.
It's got squared off corners. That's what's throwing you off.
No.
Okay, it's not throwing Todd off at all. But anyhow, the only thing I didn't like about it is it came with this. I don't know why they bothered with the pick guard. Was like a multiply tortoise guard, and it just made the thing look cheap.
Yeah.
Now
what do you do
So you
next?
got on eBay and you
That
found
one,
the cheapest one.
that
you
one
could.
looks super cheap.
Well, really?
What'd you do next? Anyway,
So tell us more about what you
so-
did to this guitar.
So we'll just skip over the No, this is what would have been typically on an Aristocrat. It's basically a clear material painted black on the back with a Guild logo.
Clear would actually look kind of cool on that.
Well, Guild actually did some with clear guards
Yeah.
for a while, but this is what should be on it.
Yeah.
And it looks, I think
Well, it matches the headstock too.
Yeah.
Which is black.
Yeah. So it's it's kind of a cool little thing, and for the money, I don't think I've bought a $400 guitar that I've been happier with.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's excellent. Well done.
Thank you.
Let's see. We're going to check in with Seth. What's going on in your music world this week? Preferably if it doesn't involve everything you're going to talk about. That'd be cool.
It does not involve anything that I'm going to. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Great.
Unrelated to the labs. Yeah. So about 2 weeks ago, I went to England, small town called Seaford. Yep. I think it's about two hours. Yeah. Oh, you know it?
I'm familiar with the
Right.
the name. I've never been there, but yes.
Yeah. All right. It's 2 hours south of London. It's right on the water. Cute little town. So my wife's cousin lives out there, and he's getting married. So whole family, we all hit the road and we're over there. So you guys ever been to a proper English wedding, like in England?
No.
Nope.
No.
No. Okay. All day affair. So, you start church at 10 in the morning, then there's lunch and toasts and people are drinking. You do dinner, drinking again, you dancing. It goes all the way through the evening. So I've got kids. And so that meant that at least a couple times throughout the day, I had to leave, do some kind of errand, go back to a hotel,
Right.
get an extra diaper, change of clothes for the kids, that kind of thing. So on one of these walks back to
Was
the
a
venue,
diaper for your kids or you?
let's just say I had a few different sizes. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Because Lou's
So
can be
we're-
few and far between.
That's how they do British weddings. It's just a thing.
That's right. You don't want to leave.
You gotta
tail-
respect
All right,
the
you guys
culture.
That's what the tails are for. They hide the bulge.
Right. Well done. Well, I'm walking back to the venue, and it's cute little streets. I'm looking at different windows, and all of a sudden, there's this vintage shop, and something catches my eye in the window.
nice.
Like, like one, the cartoons with the pie.
Yes.
And yes, I'm transfixed now.
Are you
and
about
I'm
to
floating
steal?
through the door? No stealing. Is that what they do?
Yeah, they
I guess
put
I forgot that.
Yeah,
part.
with the pie.
They put them in the
They-
kitchen windowsill to cool, and then hobos come and take them.
Oh, and then no. Okay, so
Is hobo- can you say hobo?
I was equally
Is that-
transfixed. No
He's the train guy.
thievery.
Yeah, we have to consult our local train engineer because he actually is a train engineer, and I needed to check if the term hobo was still applicable.
Socially.
Anyways,
acceptable.
okay, go ahead.
Safe.
It is.
Yeah.
We're going to go with it.
So anyway, well, it's perfect because I wanted to pause here because the story will make more sense if I tell you briefly about my history of terrible instrument purchases. Just foolish.
I love that.
You're in the right place.
Okay.
This is a safe space.
Wait,
I wasn't
wait till
sure
you
if
hear
I'd
my
be
four
last
on the
off the
firewood,
podcast.
whatever I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been playing guitar for 25 years, and I've never owned, a smart all-around guitar. I moved from like a classical that I got from my mom to a budget electric guitar, to the thing I have now, which is like you could homemade Les Paul looking thing that I found on Craigslist. And I couldn't resist it. Yeah. So well, listen to this. The first guitar tech that I brought it to, he called it. He said, "This is not a guitar. This is a guitar-shaped object." That really stuck with me. Yeah, it was. Yeah, but I made it work. It's stable and it plays, and I guess I kind of love it. I don't know any better, but I do kind of love it. And so, anyway, in between those not so great guitars were like a bunch of others, quirky instruments, and none of them daily drivers. I never landed one. So 15 years ago, I told myself, enough. Let's just settle with this Les Paul looking thing, and that's it. No more instruments. So now I'm back in Seaford. It's 2 weeks ago, and I have diapers sticking out of my suit. I'm walking back into the middle of the wedding. I got a huge smile on my face, and in my hand is this ancient 6-string zither-style banjo guitar. So cool. And I'm just on cloud nine. I'm
None
so
of us
proud
were
of myself.
expecting that at all. Nobody. Was anybody expecting that listening?
No, we should have known because he said he always buys
in
some
the
weird
cars,
instrument.
a show of hands, but people driving in the cars.
I was not expecting banjo guitar.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, this one's old too. It's fantastic. But so I don't realize I've done anything wrong until I get to the. He says,
You fool.
she goes, "How are you going to get that back to the States?" And then I realized, like, oh God, yeah. Wait, what was I thinking? But you know, I'm super happy. I did get it back to the States. I shoved it in the
Diaper.
overhead bins. It fit, and wrapped it with diapers. And
You sure it's not a
anyway, the thing's
mandolin?
incredible. No, I'm positive.
Okay.
This is yeah.
So it's got like a round
much bigger than
banjo
a mandolin.
body with the head and everything and 6 strings.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's got this solid wood, with a wooden back.
What's the name of this thing?
Google it. A 6-string zither banjo guitar. It's the best way I can put it. I mean, it's something else. It's really fantastic. It's like time traveling when I pick it up and play.
I'm kind of doing the calculus
Super
on this.
cool.
And
That's
this is,
weird.
For you to have found
Yeah.
this in Britain seems odd because the banjo is a distinctly American instrument.
Well, the Irish
Yes.
dig it.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
This style of banjo is actually English.
Really?
The zither banjo. Yeah.
Today
I
I learned.
Googled it in the last week or two. Yeah, so did I.
Now that you own one.
So it's got a wood
Yeah.
back, right?
A wooden back, but it's got, the head of a banjo in the center on the front. It's
Yeah.
got 6 strings.
Interesting.
Man, the thing is so cool.
It looks like something you'd play if
yeah.
you lived in one of those hobbit houses. It's
Yeah.
like made of sod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Oh
not?
man, for sure.
You-
The things are great.
And you know what? Out of like some window in one of the estate houses, John Paul Jones is peeking through
Yeah.
a super old curtain, going, "Bloody hell, I love that."
I wish my zither guitar sounded
Yes.
half as good.
Good man. Good,
At their
good
peak,
lad,
Arcade Fire
good
had
lad.
3 of these on stage.
Yes. Well, that's kind of cool. I
No,
like
this is
it.
really neat.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Now, was it tough getting it through customs or anything, or did you just kind of say, "I don't
No,
got
you know-
anything"?
As soon as we got it off the plane, we had 2 push carts with so much luggage, a car seat, and I couldn't even. My son carried it. We just strolled right through customs with nothing to declare. They didn't care. That was it.
I have
Yeah.
I have
That was
found every time I've done customs with kids, they do not care anymore.
Yeah, they're like, nope, keep going.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
kind
I
of cool.
didn't even-
That's a great memento from your trip as well, because
Yeah.
every time you look at that, you're going to think about the diapers
Yeah.
and the wedding, of course.
And the wedding too.
That's true. The foolishness. The foolishness.
I wouldn't.
That's true.
I'd say that's not foolish.
No, that's fun. That's a great, and you have
Yeah,
a great
but-
story behind it. That's fantastic.
Well, okay. Fair enough. You guys are right. You guys are right.
I
We'll,
love how,
we'll talk you into anything.
Yeah.
I love how bold it is to leave a family wedding and come back with an instrument.
A banjo.
Yes.
A banjo.
Yes. Exactly.
With what I'm
That's
assuming
what
was
I'm
a
saying.
straight face.
Okay, so wait, just real quick. What did you think he was going to say? Tell me.
I was thinking something more along the English lines, maybe or the Vintage. I mean, when I've been to England, the company Vintage has some really fantastic things that you can't get in the
Yeah.
States. So I was thinking more.
were thinking
along,
that?
I was thinking more along those lines.
Okay.
He said he doesn't have a good all-around guitar, so
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, he finally found his all-around guitar, and it was the complete opposite of that.
No, you're completely right. Okay.
I was kind of down those same lines, looking at an all-around guitar. I was thinking something more, I guess, traditional, like what you would envision as like a Strat or a Les Paul is like, oh, this is the thing that can do many of the things that I want it to do. So yeah,
I thought he was going to say Telecaster because that's about the most all-around guitar I can possibly
Right.
think
Yeah,
of.
Maybe
okay.
like a Les Paul
I-
with a picture of the Queen on it or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Ooh, I like that. Well, the
Yeah.
king now.
Yeah.
Well, she
that's,
turned into the king?
That's super.
Yes.
Oh man, let's not go there.
Oh, boy.
Okay, let's try. You go, John.
well, so I have this habit, much like many of us, of scrolling local used music gear sites. And we've got
I know every single product on Craigslist
Well,
at any
yeah.
given time. It's sad, and I
And-
know you're the same.
So I found a guitar that kind of spoke to me at one of our local new and used music retailers,
Music go around.
the one on Bethel.
Yeah.
And I drove out and picked the guitar up and gave it some love, and it, you know how like usually when you get it in
That's
your
a little
hands,
bit
you either
TMI,
know
but-
it's like either it's going to be the thing or it's not going to be the thing. Well, it was the thing. Absolutely. So I went home and I'm like, all right, I really don't have money in the guitar fund right now.
Huh.
So I gathered up.
Wait, you bought it?
I went home to arrange financing.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Remember
So
FDIC?
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I decided all of the guitars that I'd told my wife over the years, I'm sorry, that I had sold, but really just moved to the studio. I gathered many of them up, and I ended up trading. And this is almost embarrassing to say, but at the end of the day, I ended up with a guitar that I love. So no shame. But
Nice. What is it?
traded 3 guitars, 2 amps, and half a dozen pedals for.
Wow.
Wait. Please don't say it's like an Ibanez Geo
It's
or
a
something
court.
like that.
It's a court.
So it is an
a 6-string banjo.
Electrovox.
Electrovox?
Electrovox Jazzmaster, and if you look, it's actually got a.
I've never heard of an Electrovox.
He is a custom builder in
I
the
think you
Florida
and Seth
area,
should be hanging out.
and it's he does. From what I've reached out to him on Instagram, have not heard back, but from what I can tell, he does like one-off Jazzmaster based builds. So I don't know whether, and again, haven't reached out to him or haven't heard back from him, but I don't know whether he starts with a Jazzmaster and then modifies it or whether he builds, from scratch with parts. But anyway, it's probably the best feeling Jazzmaster I've ever held.
Wow.
I just
Really?
absolutely love it. And for those that can't see, it's set up, it's wired as a Strat. So it's got 3 pickups with a 5-position switch, but
And it's got a Strat.
it's
in the
got
middle.
like the 2 Jazzmaster pickups on either end, and then
It's
the
like a
middle position is a
Nashville.
Strat.
It's like a Nashville Deluxe Jaguar.
Yeah, Jazzmaster.
Jazzmaster. That's what I meant.
But absolutely love it. I've been
Nice.
very happy with it since I brought it home. No regrets. Like I said, these were guitars that I took to the studio and would maybe pick up once a year to okay, what does this pedal sound like with this guitar?
Right.
So really,
That's really cool.
traded in some bulk and ended up with a guitar that I love and I play. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
That's
that
a good
sounds like
deal.
a good week.
Oh, my week. Tomorrow,
The mic.
my week.
There you go.
Tomorrow, I am headed down to Cincinnati to see some friends play. They're playing at Bogart's. They're called State Champs. Their band is. And on the way there, I am stopping Facebook Marketplace. Bought a little pocket drum set for my 4-year-old. So going to set that up.
Is that one of those things on Marketplace where it's like $2?
Well, it said in the listing it was a Christmas gift last year. So I was like, I'm going to give this another shot.
Yeah.
I don't think the guy, I don't think he's a musician who's selling it. And he didn't know about the newer silent drum heads and stuff that are actually pretty decent. But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping my son, I'm excited for him to get big enough to get a full-size kit so
Yeah.
that I can play.
Totally. Yeah. Or just go get one and say, what, honey? It's for the kid.
He'll grow into it, you know?
Yeah.
Haven't you seen all these kids on Instagram? They're like 3 years old and they're playing flipping Tom Sawyer, man.
I know. It's rough out there these days for
Yeah.
us semi-talented people.
Indeed.
Well, that's every single one of us. Let's move on to the next section.
What about you, Todd?
Well, this week, so I was really excited because I got this AC30. that
AC30.
I traded
The 212.
the 212. Yeah, the proper AC30.
It's a big boy.
Proper-ish. Don't your cork sniffing.
Feel free to correct him
Yeah.
at any point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, because we
It's a
just
CC2.
did, we just did one that was the single 12.
Yes, the S1.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about in a couple
It's only
minutes.
real if it's broken.
Well,
Funny you should say that. Congratulations.
yeah.
So in a box.
So I got it, and it was playing fine. I didn't play it enough, and all of a sudden I went to go play. I got some time to play, and I plug it in, and it goes. And then I look in the back and it goes. And I'm like, what the heck was that?
Yep.
It's like, oh no. So I called up Rob and I said, Rob, something happened. He goes, bring it over. And he started pulling it apart right away, and he's like, yeah, somebody's been in this thing. And he goes, Todd, when we talked about buying amps, what is the first thing I said? I said, and he said, feel around on the back. If your hands catch on any screws, walk away. It means someone has just like not even put in the screws or correctly or whatever. He goes, that's a telltale. Somebody's been in this thing. And I was like, God dang it. You know, I got a good deal on it. Greenback's in it. I traded it for the Supro. And sure enough, there was a few more things. So he goes, well, this is a completely different tube than these ones, and a whole bunch of other stuff. He just started pointing at stuff, and
Custom.
in my head, I'm just going, you know,
Yep.
all the dollar bills are stacking up.
Every minute it sits on Rob's bench.
Yeah, so he said, confirmed shorted output tubes. Found amp had previously been disassembled. Numerous solder joints on the output tube sockets reflowed. Missing retaining clips for V2 and V3. Broken retaining clip for 4. Missing tube shield on and mount for V1. Missing rear panel screen. DCR all screen grid resistors okay. DCR all HT resistors okay. Cathode resistor okay. Visual inspection of main PCB, no issue found. So
you blew the output tubes.
well, no, there's a couple other things. He had to replace this crazy one of the newer transistors. It looks like a Lego brick, and he goes, "You know how hard it is to get one of these? I can get 10,000. Getting one, that's a different thing altogether." So I
Just order 10,000.
yeah,
You'll use it
eventually.
later. Yeah.
yeah. So that was the I'm trying to remember which one the thing is. Anyways, it's and now I plugged it in. I was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to sound like. Because before it was pretty hot and weird and I was like, oh, cool. But yeah.
So
it
sounds like the power tubes were really on their way out anyhow, and with all those other little problems and somebody
right. So
monkeying around.
I'm glad that we figured that out now, that it didn't lead to like some kind of other further damage or like that I was, on stage and goes.
And if you keep going, I mean, first the power tubes, then the output transformer. And that's when you're into some real money.
It was. He said it was biased, like exceedingly hot too. So he goes, "This is crazy. This is gonna fry everything." So he rebiased everything, and and like the reverb tank was all loose for some reason. It's
For
literally
more
like
reverb.
somebody went in there and just like tweaked one of everything, and then put it together and walked away.
Yeah, that sounds like something that my brother-in-law would do. He used to take apart like radios and things like that.
He goes, "Oh, that's neat."
Leave them in pieces on the table. Just like, what?
Not so into the rebuilding portion.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
That's
Rob's
the hard part.
Rob's a champ,
Boring.
and it sounds amazing, and I'm grateful to him. I'm grateful that he took good care of me on that. So that was super fun, and then also shipped out a whole bunch of the Tony Baloney pedals.
Oh, that's so good.
That was a fun trip to the. I forgot to take a picture of taking him to the post office, because that's always like, hey,
Yep.
here we go. So that's going on, and we're getting super good reviews on the shootout video. We got 100% good review rating right now. I'm very excited about that.
And that's a beautiful video, by the way. I mean, not because I'm in it, but because of the work that was done. The camera works great. Hex did a fantastic job. You did an incredible job on the editing.
Thank you.
And I mean, it's just like Johnny Pro all the way.
Yeah. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing back on it. Like some compliments that I was really kind of shocked about.
And you know what I really like about it, though? And I've watched it several times now because I'm getting ready to make some final decisions. And some of the videos,
the final decisions have to do with the episode that we're doing a recap episode of this.
yeah, or maybe some purchases. But
Yeah.
anyhow,
Me too.
yeah, the some of the videos that I've seen, you can't really tell a difference. I mean, there's other speaker shootouts and things like that. This one, you can actually hear differences between each of the speakers with all of the different types of guitars. it's a great reference video. And I think, I'm just listening through my computer speakers. I imagine if you ran that through, some nice full range speakers, it would be pretty incredible. But I can tell the difference on all of those right now.
Excellent. You know what, Tony?
What, Todd?
One of the best things to hook up a baloney pedal, aside from the power unit and aside from the guitar cables,
Yes.
is a Tour Gear Designs patch cable.
Well, doesn't that include the cables?
You can plug it into a zither. You can plug it into an accordion. You can do whatever you want. You can maybe even plug it into a Texas Instruments calculator. I don't even know.
A bagel? TI-35,
no,
baby.
the Tour Gear Designs patch cables. If you go to Tour Gear and you say, oh my gosh, this is what they've been talking about all this time. I need to get some. I actually need to order some.
Yep.
Put it in your shopping cart and
Yep.
then go over to the checkout. You're going to see a coupon code area. Put in the guitar knobs.
Let's back up.
Hang on.
Back up
But
a little bit there.
I'm already at the
You're
at the exit.
No,
I'm at the
but
exit.
we're not at the exit.
I am. You're ruining it.
There's something
You're ruining it.
There's something I want to say.
Oh my God.
Tony, what are they shaped like?
Well, there are two shapes. There's an
Okay.
S shape and a C shape. So if you have to go from top to side to side, top to bottom,
Yep.
all the fun stuff.
Are they flat?
They're extremely flat.
Oh, good.
Some say as like a crepe.
Ah, yes.
And the little portals, the plugs.
Portals?
The portals.
It sounds.
Well, now if I would have said that, everybody would have jumped on me for that.
I like it. I like
Plugs?
the plugs.
The jacks?
Oh, if you want to call it a plug, that's fine. But they're teeny tiny. I mean, and these are, you will literally be able to fit an extra pedal or two on your pedal board.
That is 100% true.
So go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, well, that was all staged. So you put in the guitar knobs, all one word, in the coupon code. You're going to save 15% from the
15%.
good people at Tour Gear
15%.
for our listeners only. Yes.
And you get them fast, and you're going to love them. And you just get a bunch of them. Get a couple different lengths and sizes, and the C shape, S shape.
It's kind of like, if you go get a tattoo, whatever you think you're going to get it, double the size, or else
Yep.
you're going to be sad.
You know what it's also like? It's like a Lego kit. You have a ton of little Legos that you got to put together. You want to have extra Legos just
why we
in
need
case.
a Lego metaphor to sell this. But anyways, thank you to Tour Gear Designs Patch Cables for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
So we reinstated you for this one.
Yes, thank you.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. All right, Seth from Huntington Audio. What is your 4 on the floor?
All right, the first one I got for you is the Ad-Rock Geranium Fuzz. And that's geranium, like the flower, not germanium. First fuzz pedal that I really loved. And once I found it, it was on my board forever. I think it just added this, warm grit. And I would keep the fuzz knob dialed just a bit, not nearly full tilt, Mm-hmm. And previously, as fuzz went, I had I think it was the Frantone, the Sweet, and it was huge and it was way too big. I had no idea what to do with it. And recently, thanks to the stuff I'm doing with Huntington Audio Labs, like I know the delights of a full tilt fuzz, but before that.
I like that.
This just dialed in a little bit, man. It was the Ad-Rock, all day, all long. That was my thing.
Cool.
Always on, practically.
Pretty affordable,
Yeah.
too. On Reverb, they're going for about $1.25, everybody.
Now, are
There you
they are they putting actual flowers inside instead of transistors?
Yeah.
I don't think so. That'd be something.
What you got for
Pop
number
that
2?
open. Double check.
All right. Number 2 is an oddball. It's I traded it. I got it in a trade. I think my part was either an accordion or a bazooki, and I was on Craigslist a lot back in the day, acquiring all kinds of things.
Wow.
So anyway, I was done with the accordion. It turns out it's not my instrument.
right.
Well, maybe it was the bazooki. And I found somebody who wanted to trade, and they gave me this old. I thought it was a volume pedal at first, but it turns out it's a wah pedal. It's a Halifax wah. And I don't know a lot about wahs, but again, the same thing happened with this one. I got it. I plugged it in, and holy moly. It was so searing hot and crisp. It was unreal. I mean, it could cut through a bank vault. And I wouldn't even sweep it with the pedal. I would find this spot that I liked and just leave it.
A lot of crime references that you're dropping.
Right. The bank vault. I guess so. I didn't think about that.
That's how you're buying all this stuff.
Yeah.
Went over just like a stick up.
Listen, the pedal was great. It's like I said, it's a real killer.
And it looks cool. Yeah.
It looks ordinary. It's very ordinary looking.
No, wait a minute. Is this is this red or is it sort of
No.
silver?
This is Halifax Y. It's all black. It really looks like a plain, simple volume pedal.
Okay.
It's old. It's an old thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Is
there's
it
a
made
lot
in-
of different Halifaxes in here that are all weird.
We're kind of looking at some
Okay,
of these.
well,
Some of them have knobs on the side. Is this just like a traditional wah pedal, or does it have additional controls?
It's got a switch, one basically like a like a foot switch on the side that changes. I think high pass or low pass maybe.
Okay.
But that's it, and the rest of it is just a 1 foot pedal, black. Like I said, it says Halifax in white letters on the top.
Is it from Canada or?
No, it's German.
It's German.
It's all the whatever.
So it's
writing
a
on the
Hofner
back
Halifax.
of it
Is that a Hofner Halifax? We're getting to the bottom of it.
I'll trust you, but let me grab it.
This
Let
is-
me.
Yeah, this is out of
Does it
control.
say
Hang on a
Halifax Z?
No, it has Halifax in
No,
white
but it
letters
looks
down the.
But it does. Yes, it looks just like the one that says Halifax Z, but it
Got
doesn't
it.
have a Z on it.
See how I helped us get to where we need to be, Tony?
Oh,
Jeez.
you're just so good, Todd.
All right. How about number 3?
Number 3. So, I guess it's a long time. It's like 15 years ago or more, I guess. God, a friend of mine invited me to join his band, and he wrote these huge songs and had all kinds of sound textures and pedals going on, wild playing. But on top of the parts that I had to learn, I had to figure out, how to. Okay, a chorus is coming, and we switch these 5 things off, and we switch these 6 things on, and I couldn't get a hang of it. So after the first rehearsal, I went and I found this thing called the Gig Rig MIDI 8. It's this super cool, So it gives you, I think it's 8 different choices from 6 different pedals or 6 different loops, really.
Right.
And so it let me just with one press of the foot, I could dial in, any selection of pedals I needed, and that was game changer. It's the only way I was going to keep up with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that thing, real lifesaver.
Anything
and
by
I think
Gig
at the
Rig
time
is
it was pretty
you know.
novel. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, okay. Yeah, that qualifies as a pedal.
You step on it.
It's on the floor.
It's
Come on, it's on the floor.
I don't know
utility
what
pedal,
your
Todd.
definition of pedal is.
How about number 4?
Number 4 is Electro Harmonix 360 looper, and pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But at this point, I just play by myself, and there's no other way for me to either work on something or just explore creatively. I just get the loop pedal going.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to test
it's-
stuff too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You're not wrong about that. That
What-
works there too.
What brought you to that looper versus another one?
When I used to play, I guess more seriously, you could call it. I think I tried a Boss looper that had two foot switches and a whole bunch of knobs, and it was way more complicated than I needed. And I found myself using even I had a Boss delay that had some, looping abilities. I think something like that. And so I
3
thought, wow, this
has
is so
an
simple.
extraordinary. I could be all the
DD5, DD3,
all the Boss
DD7.
delay nerds are gonna be like,
3.5.
yeah, but there's one that has a super long delay to where it
Yeah.
actually does loop.
Yeah.
And it's easy to use. There's one, you just step on it, it starts, you step again, you hold it to start over. And that was great. So years later, when I've been playing by myself and I wanted a looper, I found this one. It's just stupid simple.
Yeah.
That was it. That's what I needed.
That's good.
I support that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. Well, thank you for sharing that. It was kind of fun to hear what other kind of weird oddball stuff you.
It's not. I'm not done with the weird oddball stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's gonna be plenty of it. Don't worry.
You chose this, Todd.
You're
Yes,
taking
true.
the heat off us.
Okay, Seth from Huntington Audio, you sent me a box chock full of really incredible little bits and bobs. Before we start to get into the detail of that, can you give us the elevator speech for what the heck you actually do?
Yeah. Well, I have been trying, in pursuit of this more complicated idea for a product. I've been trying to learn some of the fundamentals of the electronics behind low voltage audio circuits, and it's been really hard. So, as I'm going and trying to learn, if I encounter sticky spots in the learning or even like the doing, like actually just getting some rote thing done, I create little helper gadgets. And if they're particularly useful, I just, what? I bet somebody else might get a kick out of this, might help them. So I put it out there. That's the whole thing. That's the labs, man.
Right. So you make things that help people make things.
That's right. And the things that I make, they're just, really a step behind my own understanding of the stuff. It's like, I just used this thing to help me figure out the thing a little bit, and I bet somebody else can do something with it too.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yes. Okay. So we are passing around all the parts here.
Bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Bits and bobs, please, bits and bobs.
I bet there's like some meme of Ray Liotta going, "Yeah, it doesn't make the thing to do the thing."
Yep.
Sorry, we're all looking at.
Yeah. No, there's
it's
so much stuff in here. It's crazy.
Are we opening this up for just discussion on the individual items at this point?
Yeah. Let's do that. Everybody's just pulling stuff. Now I don't know where it goes.
So I've got
That goes in with this stuff.
in my hand,
Jeez.
Seth. I have here, and I'm trying to find a name on the breadboard butler.
Yeah, that's like the
that's-
big dog.
Let's talk about this a
You
little
just
bit.
went right for it.
Well,
That's right. That's the flagship. But I went for it because I needed it. I started out with products that is made by someone else in a similar vein, but it didn't work the way I wanted it to. And I'm like a serial premature optimizer. Even before I need to, things have to be organized.
I feel like I would
and
have
they
said something like that.
Yeah. Took the words right out of your mouth, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I said, okay, before I can do anything, I need to make myself this tool. Silly, but that's what I did. And so I took everything that I would have wanted in a product like this and put it in there. And I shouldn't say wasted. I spent probably a couple months working on this. And so the upside of this is that I get to learn about, how to draft schematics on a computer, how to lay out a PCB, how to order these things. Work with these factories and whatever. So it was great. It's a real good learning experience for what I intend to do. But yeah, this product popped out and I love it, man. It's I use it all the time. What does it do? It basically brings everything you'd want for these kind of circuits to your breadboard. So you have, 1/4-inch jacks to bring your signals in and out. You've got all different kinds of, power supply, depending on what sort of voltages and references you need for what you're working on. And it's got scope hookups, which for, the things that I was trying to learn at first it was so important, not just to hear things, but to see, you send a sine wave in to a simple common emitter network. And you start tweaking the resistances, and you see what you see it. You see what it does to the sine wave.
Yeah.
Is it misbiased? Is it clipping asymmetrically, symmetrically? Is it you just watch it work? And I couldn't get through the material just with a breadboard and an article. I really needed these hands-on things.
No,
So yeah, that's the breadboard Butler. I mean, I think it's as good as any of the other ones out there. No, at least.
Put that on a shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Bits and
mentioned
bobs.
the scope output. That is what really drew my
Yeah.
attention to it immediately, because I think that's the thing that makes this stand out versus some of the other ones that I've seen and used myself. Just for
Right.
the nerds that are listening to this, I see a whole lot of relays on this. Can you explain kind of what they do in terms of the switching? I see like 2 inputs and an output, and then a couple of relays, maybe even 3 relays.
Yeah, the relays, I believe, and I need to go grab it, but I believe they had to do with being able to do. It does stereo.
Oh, okay.
Right. So each of the inputs is inputs and outputs is stereo. So in order to do a true bypass, I needed extra.
2. Absolutely.
Yeah. So and there was someone on the internet gave me the idea to have an external foot switch to do the bypassing.
Oh, yeah.
Because at first I'm thinking we're just we're on our desk, we're on the bench. What do you need a foot switch for? But then no, that's so smart because you got your guitar in your hand, you got wires going everywhere. Just put it on the floor and toggle it back and forth. That was a good one. But at that point, I needed the relays.
This thing that basically is going to really help you do things because a lot of people are intimidated by breadboards, including yours truly. And
Right.
what's cool is this actually hooks up to a breadboard. So you just
That's
put it
right.
on,
Well,
and then
and-
all of a sudden the breadboard's completely functional. Just go to the website and you can see it in action.
This is true. You can do that, and the way that it connects to the breadboard was the original reason why I felt like these other ones that I'd been working with is good enough. Everything was built right onto the breadboard, and because I'm trying to learn this stuff, and it's like kind of frenetic. I go from this thing to that thing. It's like, oh, I got all this stuff in the bread. I have to rip it out now to try like a new thing. So with the Butler, you have your inexpensive breadboard there. You just pop the Butler off and you stick it on a different breadboard, and you can have multiple projects going at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was a big
That's really
draw for me.
really smart.
Yeah.
And I will say that is at a very, very handsome and affordable $72 for this thing. The amount of time that this time hassle and I was, let's say, probably accuracy as well, that you benefit from doing something like, and consistency.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, well,
you were going to say that.
Sean and I were talking before the show started, and even before you were on, Seth, about I will be perfectly candid with the folks listening. I do not breadboard because I spend so much of my time figuring out what's wrong with the breadboard itself that
Yes.
I don't really
Yes.
get the opportunity to dig into the actual circuit. And this solves like 80% of the breadboard problem because so much of what supports the circuit is sitting on this PCB here, that really what's left to the breadboard is just the circuit itself.
Well, I appreciate that sentiment. I find it super useful
I would
too.
absolutely use this. In fact, I'm taking this home, Todd.
John and I are going to fight it out in the
Fight.
parking lot.
Fight it out. Perfect.
Here, you break it in half.
We'll each take half.
Fair is fair.
But
It is stereo, so
comment.
you can just do mono.
there you go. King Solomon split it in half.
Right?
But to your point about the breadboard getting in the way sometimes, that was the the genesis of the first product that I made, which was that common emitter Explorer board. So I mean that's real early days for me with breadboards and electronics and all that stuff. And it's a super simple circuit. I believe it's what underlies the linear power boost that boost pedal. And so I'm trying to figure it out, and I wasted hours in that first week because I got one little jumper cable misaligned, or I'm popping out one resistor for another, and it wasn't fast, and it was too finicky for someone trying to just hack their way through it. So that the Explorer board kind of has everything, the infrastructure kind of nailed down. It gives you a couple of trim pots that you're dialing around. You stick your transistor in, and you go. And you can really, it's a very simple, single-purpose board, really for learning. But man, it lets you get your hands dirty. in the way that, like, maybe you agree the breadboard can be pretty finicky.
Yeah. And this is also crazy. The kit, from $10, starting at $10, and then when you add a couple things like all parts trim, we're going to go to a whopping $31, and that's basically all the bits and bobs to make this thing go. Mm-hmm. What, Tony?
Bits and bobs.
Did I say that again? I did.
You did.
Bits and Bobs trademark.
It's the title of this
material.
episode.
Registered trademark Todd Novak 2024.
And you know what? When we were talking earlier, when I was I think I had to actually convince you a little bit to come on the show.
Big time.
The thing that we were talking about was like, that I truly appreciated was that you said, I just want to make this stuff so that to put it out there and so that people can do what they want to do better and have fun doing it and not, lose all their money doing it. You said it better.
Yeah. You said it pretty well. But I think, I think you said it pretty well.
Okay.
You said it pretty well.
I'm noticing, I really like how on some of these, it looks like most of them you've used schematic symbols as the silk screen layer on these boards so that you can see the parts you're using and you can kind of use those as visual cues with the schematic you're looking at to kind of see how it's transferring over onto the board.
Yes, well, especially with the first few or the first few Explorer boards, so the Common Emitter Explorer and the Fuzz Face Explorer, I did just that so that, you're not just twisting knobs in some abstract sense. You can see that, I'm increasing resistance at this point.
And a lot of people, they buy, a kit to build at first and they get all these parts and they get a PCB and you populate it and you get to the end and hopefully it works. And you're like, the schematic has nothing to do with the layout of the PCB. Like, I don't feel like I learned anything. I feel like I put something together and that was fun, but I want to learn something. So you adding a little visual bridge there, I feel like that's a really cool touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, those two boards, as I said, are really about learning. But I have found that, the most enthusiastic users of the Fuzz Face Explorers are guys who have been making fuzzes, especially the guys who are using new old stock parts, and they've been doing it for decades. And they're like, man, this thing just saves me time. So in that
go
sense,
into detail about that one, because I think you've got three here that I specifically definitely want to talk about: the Fuzz Face Explorer kit, the Mighty Fuzz Explorer board, and then the Quick Sign. Because right now, if you go on the site, what it looks like at first blush is, I'm going to get a PCB and the stuff to populate it, and then I'll have a pedal. Like if you don't do any digging, that's what it could look like. And you have some of those things on here. But let's talk about the actual Fuzz Face Explorer board kit. Why is this so effective?
Well, I think at least in the case of, guys who are familiar with the circuit, they know what they're doing, and now they're just looking to go through their stash of parts and create, interesting fuzz face recipes or variants or whatever. It's a way, kind of like I said before, of getting off of the breadboard. There's infrastructure for this circuit. It's all right there in the PCB. You snap in your transistors, dial in resistances, and you listen. And that's pretty much it. You play with some capacitors and, oh God, that sounds this part number, or I like this. Awesome. Now I'm going to box that up. And then you make all those other decisions and choices and that are involved with building a pedal. But this lets you just focus on the sound and lets you do it fast. I mean, I've not been in the game long, but me and oddball stuff. Like I'm fascinated by all these weird old transistors and diodes and capacitors, these parts, and I want to know what's the difference. How do these sound? Is there really a difference? And so tools like this make fast work of trialing all that stuff. So I think at least in the case of the Fuzz Face Explorer, that's the essence of it. You either learning the circuit or it's helping you make some stuff.
Well, And that one in particular, I'll look to you two goons for this, is that when you have a circuit that is already like, everybody knows what this is, right? So if you're like, hey, I'm going to make a fuzz face, it's like, yeah, right, a little bit. Some people could say that, but the whole kind of thing is like, but I'm going to do it this way, right? I'm going to make it mine. I'm going to change this. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
To me, well, was there more to your question?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. To me, okay, so what's tripped me up usually when I want to adjust a circuit is when I look at it as like I'm going to change these parts and like see if that makes something unique. And this kit would play into what I'm about to say here. What usually works for me is when I think like how can I change this to make a sound that's in my head or like fit in a certain type of music that I want to play, and like this kit would make that really easy. You've talked about like the speed factor of this, like when you're trying to explore different sounds. I don't know if it's like this for everyone else, but like I can't remember the sound for very long at all. So to be able to like switch parts really fast back and forth to A/B things, that makes a huge difference. I think that's a really great idea.
I would add to that. One thing that a lot of folks take for granted because the fuzz face and its clones are so ubiquitous at this point is that it's an easy circuit, and it is deceptively difficult. And in fact, it's a joke. Like, I do have a business partner. So Brandon and I will joke regularly that we've both made an attempt at a fuzz face style pedal, and like we won't exist as a company until that happens. And we've never been able to do it. It's incredibly difficult because the parts count is so low. It's very unforgiving. So the minor adjustments you make, you go from like a fully functional fuzz pedal to garbage in just a couple of tweaks. So to have something like this, I think where you can do really live testing without having to either order parts or muck around with a breadboard and then have to figure out whether you just broke the circuit or just didn't make a good connection, which is my favorite thing to do on the breadboard.
Yes.
Very long-winded way of saying that for the price point you've got here, like if I'd have had this 5 years ago, I would probably have a fuzz face style pedal right now.
Right. Well, it's never too late.
Yeah, it might be.
But
there's bad blood.
You do. Fair enough. Well, the other one, Todd, that you mentioned, the Mighty Fuzz, is almost exactly the same. It's got some, improvements over the first one. But the big draw is that it also lets you do the tone better, which is more or less one stage in front of a fuzz face. So you can choose, again, with the relays and toggle, am I going to be working on a tone bender circuit or is this going to be fuzz face? And then, onboard jacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Minor differences. Yeah.
Tone bender sounds better too when you have a little bit of an accent there. It's a little bit of a chewy to up front.
We're building tone benders here, guys. We're building tone benders.
Tone bender.
That ain't no tone bender.
You know what I like about the tone bender? It really stabs the sound.
Yes.
There you go.
Here, I'll share a funny thing real quick. So I used to work with this guy. His name was Carl, and he literally looked like the bulldog from Bugs Bunny, from the Looney Tunes. Like, the real. He was a tough guy, but he was short. He was built. He was also short, and he looked like. So he's from Detroit, and everybody knew this is a Detroit guy, and he was an older fella, probably in his 50s when I was just starting at the place. And my whole thing with him, believe it or not, was I just tried to figure out how to like rib him on a daily basis and just like make him, just get all stupefied. What? And get all worked up. And he would usually laugh. He was a good sport. But this one time I did something, and it was the wrong day to do it. And his knee-jerk reaction, I swear this is exactly what he said. He spun on me, and he goes... He goes, knock it off, or I'm going to stab you deep and frequent. And he said it so fast and it's such a blistering slur. Like I was literally, the color went from my face. I was like, oh my God, you've done it before.
Deep and frequent.
Deep and frequent. Who says that? Who says that? Unless you've done that.
That's very descriptive.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm
You
like,
said
no, it's too late.
Detroit, right? That checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
So, yes. Oh, Carl. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So, if people are saying, oh, this is really cool, I've been wanting to do some pedals and stuff like that, this would be a really cool way to do it. I would like to hear from the Goon Squad over here. What what would you say to somebody who would be saying, oh, I'm going to get the Mighty Fuzz Explorer board kit?
I would go back to what I was saying earlier, like get this instead of a traditional pedal kit, because you're gonna learn how it works, and this is built for learning. So instead of just like paint by number or whatever, color by number, you're gonna build this and you're gonna leave with more knowledge.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
go for
good.
that.
Okay, I like that.
I would also say to echo that, but also when I build kits, which I do with some regularity, because it's a lot of times there are pedals that are just not available, and the only way you can get it is with a kit. I find myself, and the people that also design will probably agree, I'm driven more nuts by the choices that have been made about how the pedal goes together than anything else. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying that I think to build something like this, you're going to end up with an end product that you're happy with versus like trying to figure out why somebody decided to mount the jacks at the top and then have the wires run all the way to the bottom and then like the circuits all the way at the top again. Like it, I think there's design decisions that some of the kit builders make that just don't really make it.
This isn't making the design decision. This is making the sound decision.
Absolutely.
Well, and I was kind of taking that for granted. You saying that made me think of that. This stuff is really well laid out. It looks intuitive. It looks organized. It looks like everything about breadboarding that John and I hate about it being disorganized and disorderly. This is laid out in a way that hits your eye just right.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Now the Mighty Fuzz Explorer board kit, unlike the Butler, which actually plugs into a breadboard, this isn't taking the place of a breadboard, is it?
Well, it kind of is.
It kind of is.
I mean, it's a very it's like a purpose-built breadboard. I mean, it's you will
exactly
breadboard
right.
a thing on it, but if that's the thing you want to breadboard, it does all the work for you.
That was a good setup.
That's right. The Mighty Fuzz Explorer, you don't need a breadboard at all. It's a self-contained, plug it in, dial in a fuzz.
Yeah. I would say that the interest in it could be great, but if you pulled this out of the bag, I feel like there would be an immediate intimidation, panic. Simply because if you're not super familiar with all these things, that could be overwhelming. I'm assuming you have remedied this in some way.
How do you mean?
By the Mighty Fuzz Explorer Board Guidebook PDF.
Oh, there you go. Yes, there is, all the more complicated products.
I knew you'd get there.
A guidebook. Yes, thank you. There's a guidebook that walks you through it, more or less how to use it. I do kind of assume that you'll find your way with assembling it. For the most part, I mean, based on the variety of parts that are involved, things kind of only fit in one place. So, I guess mistakes could be made. But
that sounds like a
think,
challenge.
Yeah, there you go. If you're at the point where you're considering this purchase, I think you're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, and you've done a really fantastic job on your website. I think it would be really easy to just take a picture of this and put it up there and say, I'm selling this, good luck. But you've shown it in all the different states it can be, which is fully assembled, up close. So you can really see, well, where are the actual parts? So without too much trouble, you could actually basically reassemble it to at least look like one of these things that you have. different states. You have all the pieces and parts laid out with the board, without the board. You got the actual board guidebook, which we're just going to take a look at that real quick. You've even got some really cool looking illustrations, especially on the Butler, that says like what all the things do, and it's such an intuitive way of approaching this.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. I tried to have these things, make sense as quickly as possible. But you bring up another point, which is there are some of these products, man, I wish I had the time or the skill or the patience to do some videos to, show this is the thing in action, like watch, listen, look, we're just doing, but it is so much work to make videos. It blows my mind. The amount of effort it's like, kudos to all you guys making videos for your products. Amazing. But I can't do it. I don't have the time. But so therefore the flat graphics have to say a lot. Well,
and it's complete. This isn't for just one of the pieces. You've treated each product that you have on here with the same amount of look, I don't want somebody to have a bad experience with this. I mean, that seems like it's the overriding inspiration to all the work that you've put into this.
That's for sure. That 100%. I'm a people pleaser, so I definitely don't want people to be upset with their purchase. And you mentioned the quick sign.
I feel like you must have like a sandwich shop or something like on the side.
The way I name these things?
I'm a people pleaser. I have a sandwich. Yeah.
Maybe I do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the quick sign generator is I couldn't find a reliable sign generator anywhere. In fact, the only place I found one was at an estate sale, and it was like a 75-year-old thing that, it's great. But that really helped me learn. And I was like, wow, they don't have them. The cheap ones stink. And so I realized there's a way to make one kind of relatively inexpensive, and that's what that kit is.
Yeah. And
plug it in, it spits out a sine wave. Yeah,
help us understand what that actually pertains to. So I know that we have a wide range of people listening, and if somebody says, "Well, I don't know what that sine wave generator is."
Yeah. Okay. So it basically produces a sinusoidal wave. It's just like that classic. You've seen a wave like that. What does it look like? An S on the side, right? Real clean tone, and it's useful. When you're studying these circuits, because you can send basically this perfect sound wave through your device, and then you see how it comes out after passing through whatever stages of your circuit. So whether you're amplifying it and you're watching it get clipped or this or that, you know where you started. It's a perfect sine wave, and you know where you end up. And like I said, a lot of the products I order with them, on Amazon or wherever else, these cheap sine wave and signal generators, I had high hopes, but the sine waves they're pointy, like, triangle waves. And it wasn't going to do. So I figured a way to do one.
So how would you guys use this in your build?
I mean, exactly how Seth described. It's, it provides the input signal that you can use to then either.
So instead of a looper or a guitar or like having a guitar on standby or something like that, where it's going to be different all the time.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, is being able to consistently reproduce what you're trying to see. So if you know what the sine wave looks like through pedal number 1 and you look at pedal number 2, you can kind of see what the difference is between
That's what I'm looking for right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quality assurance board.
Quality.
And that is only $46 fully populated. Pretty cool. Not fully populated with all the parts. You got to populate it.
With all the parts. That's right.
Or $12 just for that board. Very, very cool. I want to pull us to the side real quick. How does one endeavor to do this? Like, what you must be good with electronics to put all this stuff together. You didn't just go like, "Hey, pedals are cool. I should make this company."
I think you're wrong about that. That's more or less kind of what happened. I got into this 18 months ago. 18 months ago, I couldn't tell you what Ohm's law was. Yeah.
What?
But I had this idea that's true. I had this idea for a product for musicians. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to go buy one.
Yeah.
And I went online and nobody sells it. It's not out there. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to make it. And is this worth doing? Am I crazy? So I took like this. It's not that novel of an idea, but I took 3 different things that exist and I almost literally duct taped them together just so I could mess around with it and say, like, is this worthwhile? Do I like this? Is it even a good idea? Now, oh my God, this is great. I love it. Everybody's going to love it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make it. Who do I talk to? What is this? What kind of professionals are involved? Like, I had no idea. So I'm on Reddit, I'm emailing people, and I get a list. You need to speak to, an electrical engineer. You need a contract manufacturer. Well, how about a patent attorney? So I get all the people, and I go and I talk to one of them. The first guy I talked to, this guy's an angel. He listens to my idea, and then he just explains everything that's involved. And he's talking to I have a software background, but I knew nothing about hardware and electronics. And he explains how the whole thing would go. And, I speak to a few other professionals, and I start to get a look at this picture and what it's going to take to have these professionals realize this idea. And I go, oh, my God. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. So then I thought, what if I how much can I chip away at myself? And that was it. I started tinkering really small steps, like from the duct tape thing to like, just hacking my way through it. And I realized I'm absolutely in love with making physical things. I love electronics. Man, I fell in love with all these old dusty parts. I figured out how to do 3D print. The whole thing, man, just lit me up so much. So that's how it happened. And like I said, the tools that I put out here, they're literally like just weeks behind. I needed this because I couldn't figure it out. And so and then I just put the thing out. It's not.
That's incredible. I mean, dude, you've put together what would take most people much longer to think of, assemble, test, create. And get out. I mean, it's really quite extraordinary.
I love how you're going on this journey. You're trying. You have something you want to learn, and you're making these things as you go along to solve these problems you have. And by making a company, you're like leaving breadcrumbs behind for other people that go on this same journey, and it's going to be immensely helpful for whoever picks those up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a positive take, man. I appreciate that.
I also, at some point you're gonna start saying, okay, enough. But you just said something that I think I got from you right away, which was like positive. Everything about you and what you're doing is like grounded in this positive attitude, a positive experience. Friendly, approachable, and I think that is so necessary when you're talking about things that can be daunting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. There was something I really wanted to do, and I told you earlier, I'm a premature optimizer. That's what this whole company is. Really, I should be focused on that original idea. But I couldn't help it. Oh, this thing helped. It worked. Let me just see. And, I also get to learn about e-commerce and marketing and manufacturing with these tools, which are much smaller fish than the thing I was trying to do. So, I'm happy to hear that it sounds like it's positive for others, but man, it serves me too.
For sure. The last thing that I wanted to point out here is in the world of talking about like all of the voodoo of specific parts and pieces, and capacitors, and transistors, and all that stuff. You have a multimeter breakout, which essentially is almost like an IKEA version, and I say that in the kindest way because IKEA makes everything so simple. Anybody can put a piece on here and then put the little arm down. And it tells you exactly what the value is. That's pretty awesome.
I mean, that honestly, that's hard to say. One of my favorites by far, and not so much with getting looking for the mojo. because it doesn't do any. Well, it doesn't do any three-legged semiconductors and stuff like that. But you have resistors lying
test
around.
the values.
And
I keep them consistent.
You could read the color codes, but I can't, and I'm not going for that. I want something fast. I pop it in and I flip the thing down. I'm amazed it doesn't come with the multimeter.
Yeah.
It's like I love that thing, man.
Yeah, really neat.
You
That's one of my
spill
favorites.
2 drawers
thank
of
you.
resistors on the floor, you will throw them all away.
Oh my God.
You will throw them all away.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
that's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Absolutely right.
Well, we're going to hand the floor over to you just really quick. Is there anything that in sort of like we're rounding third. We're going to get to the some of the fun stuff here. More fun stuff, I should say. Anything that you want to say into the mic?
I mean, if I haven't said it already, no. This was. I don't think I've talked this much about this stuff ever. So this was great, and I got nothing more to say. We did it.
All right.
Fantastic.
Well,
I
Audio
will
Labs.
chip in, and I don't think Todd has realized this, but Sean and I have been divvying things up for the past half hour. So like we've got our little piles to take home. So just know that these are going to a good home.
Yeah. Well,
I love that.
Though.
It's
Super cool
Nice.
stuff. And you know what? You were so kind because you said, I think you understood. It's like, it's one thing to look at a website and go, oh, that's cool. It's another thing to get this in your hands and explore and get excited about. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It says dive in, get smart, make some noise. 8. I guess, or we could say mailers that we're going to get out to the our listeners. And that just has a little PCB and some information on what else to get excited about. So I really
Exactly
appreciate
right.
you sending this our way.
That's my pleasure, man. I'm glad you guys found me.
Well, and it's not just going to be us because the listeners are. I could not implore you more. Please check Huntington Audio out and just get your hands dirty. You're not going to break anything, right? You're not going to mess up. This is all exploration and learning, and it's done in arguably the best way that I've seen it done. I don't know about you guys if you want to argue that or not. I doubt it.
Well, thank you.
I've got 10 reasons not to argue.
I've said it a couple of times, and I'm sure you guys have some listeners. Like, if you want to learn how to solder, go pick up a regular everyday kit. If you want to learn how these things really work, there's products on here that will help you do that.
Absolutely.
You know what? It really reminds me when I was growing up as a kid, Radio Shack and a couple other
How
things.
else do you
yeah.
grow up?
They had these electronics kits. I'm not gonna dignify that with,
You just
with
did.
an answer. You got me.
You
But
let
no,
him win every single time.
there were these little kits. This is a much more refined version.
Oh, yeah.
And probably a lot more useful than what was available back then, that you could plug little LEDs and transistors and resistors and different things in. So yeah, this is a great learning opportunity.
But it's a great prototyping tool. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like we're hyping the learning part because that's an exciting thing when you start to go like, oh, I'm interested and I'm doing it. But you guys are past that. And
Yeah.
there are things in here that are
There are
clearly
things
helpful.
in here that I would use every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he covers multiple levels.
Oh,
If
man.
you're just starting, there's some stuff to help you learn. If you've been going for a little while, there's stuff to grow into here too.
Yeah. Outstanding. All right, Seth, we're going to turn it over to Tony Baloney here.
That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show is a little game that we play called Would You Rather?
Yes.
I've heard of this game.
I would rather.
What?
I was gonna put in the that's a clap to potentially put in the Jared one. I say,
Oh,
which
see
I gotta.
how this is?
I haven't put it on cue yet. I gotta do that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Always the
Go ahead.
bridesmaid, never the bride. So if you were listening to our last episode, we introduced a multi-episode Would You Rather, brought to us by our good friend Bruce Bacon.
Yes, Bruce.
Bacon. In episode 1, well, let me give the story behind the story first.
We won't have to. We can't do that because there's like 7 of these, so we can't go episode 1, episode 2, episode. We just have to jump to the next one. But give the premise first.
Okay, let me give the premise first. So the premise is this. Todd was helping Tony move some guitars when the most haunted of
Move
axes-
like New York move?
No, move like go
you
from
gotta
the...
move a few things.
No, the top shelf to the bottom
Okay,
shelf.
okay, so actually moving them.
Yes, actually moving them. When the most haunted of axes, a BC Rich warlock, accidentally fell on Todd's head and knocked him out.
Yes.
Cold.
And everybody said, finally.
Thank God. It's quiet.
Was this your anesthesiologist?
Yeah. We talked about that. When Todd awakened, he felt different. Now he has the power to summon the dead through incantation.
Yes.
Nice.
Uh-huh, I'm
This
listening.
you're listening?
Yeah.
I'm just saying if
Yeah.
you're still there. Episode 2. In this episode of Beyond the Grave, you have the opportunity to talk to a guitar designer for 1 hour and 1 hour only, and only discuss guitar design, not what it's like to be dead or anything like that. Would you rather talk to Leo Fender
That was the first one.
or Ted McCarty?
No, what?
Yeah,
This is the second one?
this is the second one.
Okay, all right.
Lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
The
can
first
tell-
one was Leo Fender and Jim Marshall talking about amps.
You can tell that you used to sit there and watch the radio and listen to the Little Orphan Annie show. Anyways, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
So, would you rather talk to Leo Fender from Fender Guitars, obviously, or Ted McCarty from the golden era of Gibson,
Yeah.
shall we say?
What? And just for anybody that doesn't know what Ted McCarty did.
Well, I don't know that he actually designed he and his team came up with
Yeah.
many different designs, including
Yes.
the Flying V, the Gibson Moderne, and the Explorer.
Right.
And most recently rediscovered the Theodore.
Yes.
The kind of tulip-shaped thing. It was all right. But, he was responsible in the late 1950s of coming up and heading up Gibson
Yeah.
during what most consider their golden era. So, who are you going to talk to?
Okay.
You want me to go first?
You go ahead first.
As I said last week, I wanted to talk to Leo about amps. This week, I am going to talk to Leo about guitar designs. And I would really be curious to see if he thought that the Fender Telecaster was the pretty much perfect guitar out of the gate. Or if he just was like scribbling on some napkins or whatever, and maybe he and his buddies over there at Fender came up with the bandsaw and came out with this design. But to me, the Fender Telecaster is the perfect guitar. It hasn't changed in over 50 years.
I would agree with that.
So that's what I would like to sit down and talk to him. And I would bring a can of nuts because Leo was a fan of canned nuts. That's where all the bolts and parts and things ended up at the Fender factory.
Right.
So as last week, I might be able to extend it to 2 hours.
Got it. Got it.
Good.
Let's see.
Yeah, so
This is John Esterly.
this is John Esterly. I think we've met.
I think I have to introduce you every time.
I know.
Well, people forget.
People forget.
All right.
No, so Tony's not going to be alone on that island, and I don't, people that follow me, I don't think this will be any surprise. I am obviously on Team Fender, so and although Gibson
And Team Electrovox, apparently.
Gibson aficionados may think that all of that nonsense that you just listed off is the golden area. No, I mean those things were ridiculous. So.
Well, when I say that, I also.
We're dropping bombs tonight.
Big talk.
But in the
We're
1950s,
farming clicks over here.
the late
takes.
the late 50s in particular, that's when you talk about Les Pauls and things like that. That's what. But you're right. the Flying V's and Explorers and the Modern, which is
That was-
arguably ever
whatever.
existed.
Yeah.
Those were flops. But now, of course, they're,
Icons. They're icons.
They're icons.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
no, I agree with Tony. I think the Telecaster was basically perfection out of the gate. I've owned more Telecasters than any other guitar. Number 1 and number 2 are Telecasters. So would love to, many of the questions you would ask, I would ask the same.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't forget the can of nuts.
And don't forget
Right.
the can of nuts, yes.
Okay.
So I'm more of a Fender
Sean
guy.
from Talon.
Sean from Talon.
Yes.
Talon Electric. Sean here. I'm more of a Fender guy when it comes to playing. I agree with John over here with, Telecaster is probably my favorite guitar to actually play. But I'm reading here, and I don't know as much history as you guys do, but the Flying V and the Explorer were designed in 1957 and released in 1982.
58.
Okay. All right. Well, that's on me for trusting Wikipedia. But so those two guitars, like they just scream like metal to me, which is probably not what they were thinking in 1957.
No, I think they were thinking more along, they're almost Art Deco-y kind of streamlined automobile.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of lore about the Flying V. They said we want a guitar that we can like stand up against the amp that's not going to fall over.
That's a fair.
'Cause
that's
the
a fair
headstock
point.
will most certainly
That's just
break.
practical. That's just practical.
I mean,
that.
no, I read that in a big story about all the history.
Well, or if you're in New York, they would pin you up around the neck with the horns of the
I guess so.
V.
Stab
up
someone
against
deep
the wall.
and frequent with that.
yes,
Deep and frequent.
yeah.
I would talk to him about that. I would like to have a conversation about what they were thinking when they designed those two guitars. That'd be really interesting.
Cool.
All right.
How about yourself, there,
Seth?
Seth? Thank you.
It's okay. It's unanimous. I also would opt to speak with Leo.
Nice.
I mean, I've only ever purchased, as you know, ridiculous guitars, but I've
Please tell me
Just
you have
had
an
a-
Ovation breadwinner.
no, but I had an Ovation in the past. I did. Soon after the classic, I think my first acoustic that I actually bought was an Ovation.
Right.
Anyway, back to the Fender thing, man. I've had a crush on the Strat forever. Maple neck, off white. But I never went for one. But I've wanted one forever.
It's
got a thing for Fenders.
absolutely
and I play
gorgeous
Fender
guitar.
amps.
There's nothing to be
Yeah.
ashamed about. The Stratocaster is a beautiful guitar that literally everybody loves. If you don't love a Stratocaster, there is a genetic problem with you.
Todd.
Absolutely right.
Todd has an issue
I-
with Strats.
My face just did all kinds of involuntary things the minute you said that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. And also the amps. The first tube amp I ever played was the Lux Reverb, and it's the first tube amp I still have it. Thing's amazing.
But you can't.
Absolutely love it.
You can't talk to him. It's only about guitars this week.
Yeah.
You would have had to chime in last
Oh.
week.
Yeah.
So sorry,
Right. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Yeah.
All right.
That's fine.
Todd.
Straddle dude.
I'm 1,000,000% going with Ted McCarty.
Really?
Because those designs stand alone.
That's an awful lot of percent.
That's all the percent. Mm-hmm. Actually,
Yeah.
If you dig deep into what percentages are, so
Deep dive.
I think I would love to know that. Also, aside from the actual shape of it itself, there's a lot of interesting things about it, which is like the balance of them. It's like one thing that is always said when somebody brings up the Explorer. It's one of the most comfortable guitars to play,
It is.
sitting or standing.
Yes.
Right? But then the other really cool thing about both of those, maybe even more so the Flying V, is that we've talked about how in modern era, we like to make everything feel like evenly spaced, symmetrical, follow the lines, da-da-da. And they 100% didn't. It was like somebody saw a pencil sketch of something and then they made the pick guard and just put it on it, because it doesn't follow any of the lines, and it's really cool. And to me, that is not unlike, and I've said this before, when you hear a distortion signal, it's like, especially if it's asymmetric, it's like, it does something to you, and it's disruptive. Everything looks off, so it looks amazing. It's fantastic. I love it. And I have one of each of those, so.
That's an opinion.
Yes, it is.
Nice opinion.
Let's see. So thank you to Bacon for sending that out, Brucey. We have several more, which I can't wait to...
Many episodes to come.
Many.
Okay, we need to thank a few people and then usher ourselves out and say adios to Seth.
Well, that is right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a special group of people we'd love to thank. Do you know who they are?
This is what you're going to do, a really long one here, aren't you?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? Easy as pie. Head over to patreon.com/The Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a friend, a hero, a patron of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts. And I do mean very nice thank you gifts. And opportunities to win stuff, you know. But in addition to all that great stuff, I'm told there's one thing more. What could that be? You get to have your name read on the thing, as Todd tried to squeak out. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: John Sebastian, Trevor Ellenberg, Cameron Pampas, James Bell, Brett Hogarth, Don Kloss, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Rusty Sneeden, Vader and Peddles, I can't say that today. John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Richard Kendall, James White, Justin Jones, John Esterly from Rare Buzz. Oh
my God.
He's sitting right there. Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Eric Merrow, and Plutone.
Excellent.
But wait, Todd, there's more.
Oh.
Because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A number ones, and they wear a fez upon their head whilst listening to the podcast, as required by law, in all 50 states and 32 countries around the world. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs: Anthony Gemalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robinson, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Hex Matos, James Pennington, John Williams, LSJ Music Company, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Paul Von Eppinger, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, Tyler K.C. Rhines, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wound Pickups, Pedro Vasquez, and Gregory Randall. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Truly, we could not do this without you, and we can't say that enough. If you're thinking about joining us, please do. We'd really appreciate your help, and we've got we're constantly looking for ways to show our thanks, all kinds of giveaways, and we've got a whole bunch more here that we're going to give away from this box tonight.
Yes.
Okay, Seth, thank
Guys,
you, man.
You were all so generous and attentive and really checking out the stuff. I really, really appreciate it. This was awesome. Thank you.
You're getting an order tonight because you sent the wrong stuff. So I'm going to have to give you money.
That's the trick.
I hate this so much, but you're going to get money, and I'm going to not have money, but we're both going to be happy at the
you're
end.
both going to be happy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love picking and packing, so send it through.
Good.
Very cool.
Cool.
Where can people find the things that Seth makes?
You guys find me at Huntington Audio Labs, huntingtonaudio.com, or Instagram, That's it.
Perfect.
Find me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean, where can people find the things that you do?
Sean Mikowski, Talon Electric. We make guitar pedals. I hear you guys like those.
You got a pretty popular one. What's that one called?
They're all popular, but
Yeah.
so which one?
The most popular. Yeah.
We just released one called The Noise that's really cool. We released it with a band called Alpha Wolf. And if you listen to their music, you'll hear their guitars go wee, and this pedal does that. So find it at TalonElectric.com, at Talon Electric.
You're still
on
making
social
that
media.
other white one?
I'm blanking, man.
The one
There's
that got
so
all
many.
the hype? Yes, I know. Because sift through your catalog.
The dual drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make the dual drive.
Yeah,
The dual drive.
featured on JHS.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
The dual drive. It's two
this
overdrives.
old thing?
Listen,
Last year's model.
I built guitars all day today, and my brain is done.
Yeah.
So here we are.
John Esterly?
One more time.
Okay.
How does that pedal make the guitars go again?
Wee.
Okay.
I gotta say, I love that you've adopted the royal we, because you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Because it's embarrassing to be like, yeah, it's me in a room by myself for hours at a time.
I built guitars all day because that is the only person.
right.
I have a business partner, but he only does art. So
So John Esterly, Rare Buzz Effects. You can find me at rarebuzzer.com. That's RareBuzzer. All of the social medias are at Rare Buzzer. For those that do follow, you may have noticed there was like a quick darkness and then came back with absolutely nothing but a post and a number 7. So more to come on that. Follow
Okay.
and pay attention. Yeah. Next year is going to be pretty exciting.
Indeed. Tony?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the things that I do. What do? I make custom pick guards for guitars. How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need. There's some stuff you can order on the website too, but you know what? I do custom work.
Mostly.
Mostly, as I'm told.
Yes.
So shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what you need, what materials, all this stuff.
If you can't figure it out, hit me up and I'll get you connected.
Yeah, you could do that. You know what, Todd?
What?
It's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
Exactement. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. I'd love to hear from you. I will get messages to whomever you need to. Tell us what you're up to. Tell us where you are, what gear you like, what anything. Tell us what you had for lunch yesterday. I don't care. We just want to connect with you guys out there.
Don't forget the would you rathers and let us know your 4 on the floors.
Yeah, for sure. And then lastly, I would say I would truly appreciate it if every single person who's listening to this goes to YouTube, looks up the Guitar Knobs podcast, okay, and watches that video that we just made.
It's beautiful.
Because we're buried literally under Mount Everest of everybody who has tons and tons and tons of videos and everything. And I would love to get it a little higher up in the algorithm, and I'd like for you to see what we did, and I think you might appreciate it. There's some fantastic companies that really helped us out that I think would also appreciate that exposure too. So if every single person does, the things we can do. Thank you so much, Seth, for sending us this box of incredible goodness and for making some things that are just like so great for the pedal builders from every end of the spectrum, and for those who aren't yet pedal builders, just exploring. Great work.
Nah, man, thank you guys, all you guys. I really appreciate it. This was great.
You bet. You're welcome anytime. Our door is always open to you, man. And please go check some of this out and grab it. Have a fantastic Guitar Week, everybody, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Speaking of the microphone,
Always,
Todd,
always.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
right into the microphone.
Yeah, he's
I'm
doing
working
the
on
thing
it.
he yells at us for. Soon he's going to start chewing into the mic.
All right.
Poor.
An aperitif.
Ooh.
That's
Nice.
what I was. That's the
You guys
word
are
I was
all-
going to
yeah.
use.
I think Casual Friday is coming up at Talon Incorporated, isn't it?
It's always casual Friday.
I mean, the employees look forward to that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They do. You know, we try to keep things.
Are you giving away the turkeys again this year to all the
of
employees?
course.
No, they're giving
Oh,
away
yeah.
braided belts.
Oh, braided belts.
Yes.
Braided.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Real skin.
A free pair of Dockers.
I like that.
yeah.
Can we give him a little more bottom end?
I can't give him anything.
That's pretty rude.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Hey, everybody's wait.
Who are you?
We made it so far down that road
know.
before we had to class.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak.
Yeah. I now remember. I've only done this. Like
Now he
400
remembers how
times.
to do this.
Yeah,
The first 300 shows are the hardest.
Okay.
I can add.
We'll
that
fix it in
post.
post, Tony.
Fix it in post.
We'll fix it in
I
post.
appreciate that, guys. Yeah.
Fix it in post. Yes.
Yeah, warm up.
We're getting the chuckles out. Todd doesn't like it when we laugh.
No,
I love laugh.
no, but he likes serious.
I love laugh.
Done
You,
his
my
homework.
friend,
Oh,
are an
I know
ideal
what I'm gonna-
guest.
Yep.
Oh well,
Very good.
well, let's wait till the end.
Okay, well,
Let's, but thank
I don't know.
I've never said
I
it
don't
out
know.
loud.
Who knows?
Yeah.
in the year 22,
All of us do this
22.
alone in our houses.
That's right.
Can't talk
That's
about
right.
it.
Well, except for you, you've got a whole company.
Of course, yeah. I used to do it in my house.
What do
Before-
what do the folks at the shop call it?
before we had to expand into our
Yeah. into the-
facilities?
Okay.
Don't do too well, Seth, or else you'll end up back here like us.
Yeah,
Oh man,
the shackles are
I
on.
wouldn't mind it. I won't be alone then. This will be perfect.
Yeah, you guys can all build pedals together.
Train
That's-
slicker together. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, feel free if you need to stop for some reason or other, just let us know.
I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Except
Yeah.
to leave. There's no escape.
Cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't leave until we say, okay, that's it. That's the show.
You can come to our facility and with all of our employees.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could share the
Fantastic.
employees.
That's right. Yeah. Well, mine are very busy. So
I got you.
With the millions of pedals that we built.
correct.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.